Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. I want to go to The Intercept, and this is an article from almost 2 years ago, but very fitting in the grand scheme of things, especially with the election of President Donald Trump. I think that this becomes ever more relevant. We've seen a varying array of personalities inhabit the White House now, with George Bush to Barack Obama to now Donald Trump. But one thing seems to be the truth across all of that, and that was said by President Jimmy Carter. He said that the U.S. is an oligarchy with unlimited political bribery, and he's absolutely right. And he said this on the Thom Hartmann program, that the United States is an oligarchy in which unlimited political bribery has created a complete subversion of our political system as a payoff to major contributions. Now, you might say, wow, Captain Obvious strikes again. But coming from a former sitting president, I think it's pretty powerful, especially when you take a look at Jimmy Carter and his personality and who he was. When you look at it, the guy was just overmatched and didn't have the personality to be president. I mean, I got to be honest with you, the guy's pretty sharp. But when it comes to domestic affairs, he was way off, out of touch with what the people needed. However, from a foreign policy standpoint, the old Georgia boy really shined through and was doing some pretty amazing things. But as you know, one-aw shite ruins a dozen attaboys, and his botching of the Iranian hostage situation really didn't do well for him. And, of course, that was really the nail in the coffin, that and super inflation. That allowed Ronald Reagan to become president in 1980. So, very, very interesting personality, but boy, he hit the nail on the head. And he's absolutely right. We are ruled by special interests, and those special interests are really a very few people. Now, of course, you'll have lobbies from the big industries who will pool their resources together and, of course, send their lobbyist organization to Washington, like Big Pharma. You know, they all work in cahoots. They all fund basically the same lobby, and they all have tremendous power in Washington due to the fact that they have all of these campaign contributions. So very, very interesting dynamic that's afoot in Washington. But Jimmy Carter said it best. You know, he said, it violates the essence of what made America a great country in the political system. This is to quote Jimmy Carter. He says, now it's just an oligarchy with unlimited political bribery being the essence of getting the nominations for president or elect the president. And the same thing applies to governors and U.S. senators and Congress members. So now we've just seen a complete subversion of our political system as a payoff to major contributors who want and expect and sometimes get favors for themselves after the election's over. The incumbents, Democrats and Republicans, look upon this unlimited money as a great benefit to themselves. Somebody who's already in Congress has a lot more to sell to an avid contributor than somebody who's just a challenger. Let's take it a step further. Recently, Jason Chaffetz of Utah resigned, and I think the 30th is his last day in office. Interestingly enough, he's headed up to here. Now, he went with all the best intentions of trying to make change from within. Now, that's a noble endeavor. It's one thing that led me to be a civil servant. I can make change from within. Let me tell you something, folks. It's impossible. It's impossible in the halls of Congress. It's truly impossible when you talk about the branches of government. People have tried before me, after Representative Chaffetz. And let me tell you something. It is irreparably broken. Unfortunately, I have to tell you, it is to the point now where you can't even get elected the person that represents the people because you can't even trust the voting system. The voting system is so corrupt. Everything is so corrupt. So really, folks, we have to think about making some major changes. Now, I'm going to float something out there that a lot of people have advocated for, and they are really avid for. And that's an Article 5 constitutional convention. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. But we're looking at states that are now starting to fold because they're just economically insolvent. Illinois is actually, looking at bankruptcy as an option. They had a Chicago Tribune writer yesterday that was talking about just making Illinois insolvent and then have the neighboring states just eat it alive, because $251 billion the taxpayers of Illinois are on the hook for. $251 billion. They're in the hole. For what? That's just unfunded liabilities. Let me sweeten the pot. That's just unfunded liabilities for their pension system and their state health care. All their unfunded social programs. $251 billion in unfunded liabilities alone. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we are really in a bad situation, and we have nobody to thank but the oligarchs, but our non-representing representatives, and a couple of generations of people who fell asleep at the wheel and allowed this to happen. And all I can say, folks, to people of my generation, even the baby boomers, time to pull the heads out of our butts and let's get going, And I don't think we're going to find the solutions to our problems within this structure. Something major has to give. What that is remains to be seen. But better to do it now and bite the bullet than to wait until it's too late. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great